If this story moved your heart, give it a like. And subscribe, because together, we can light up someone's world with kindness. He was just a poor boy with torn shoes and a heart full of dreams, but one day, his single act of kindness would change everything, his life, his destiny, and even the heart of a billionaire. It was a cold winter morning in the small town of Greenfield. The streets were wet with melting snow, and people rushed by, heads down, their breath forming white clouds in the chilly air. Among them walked a young boy named Ethan, no older than 12. He wore an oversized hoodie, patches on his trousers, and shoes so worn out they barely held together. Yet, his eyes sparkled with kindness and curiosity. Ethan had grown up with very little. After his father passed away in a car accident when he was 6, his mother worked long hours at a diner just to keep the lights on and food on the table. Despite their poverty, she raised Ethan with values: honesty, compassion, and the belief that kindness matters, no matter how small. Every morning before school, Ethan delivered newspapers to earn a few dollars. He never complained. On that particular day, as he tossed a newspaper onto Mr. Brooks's porch, he noticed something strange. An old man, hunched over and struggling to get up from the ground, was just a few houses away. His grocery bag had torn open, and apples were rolling across the sidewalk. Without a second thought, Ethan ran over. "Are you okay, sir?" he asked, helping the man up gently. The man nodded, embarrassed. "Darn bag tore right through." "I'm all right, son." Ethan gathered the groceries, even chasing a can of soup that had rolled into the street. He then walked the man, who introduced himself as Mr. Albert, to his doorstep. "You didn't have to help, but thank you," Mr. Albert said with a grateful smile. Ethan shrugged. "My mom says kindness is free, but sometimes it's worth more than money." The man chuckled, amused by the wisdom in such a young boy. They parted ways, and Ethan thought nothing of it. For weeks, he continued his routine, barely seeing Mr. Albert again. But what Ethan didn't know was that Mr. Albert wasn't just another old man in the neighborhood. He was Albert Rosen, a retired billionaire who had quietly moved into the town after stepping down from his tech empire. He had grown cynical over the years, tired of people who only wanted his wealth, sick of business lies and fake friends. But something about Ethan's innocent act stirred something in his heart. A few months passed. One afternoon, Ethan came home to find his mother crying. Their rent was overdue again, and her hours at the diner had been cut. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered, holding him close. "We might have to move soon." Ethan, determined to help, started looking for more work after school. He helped shovel snow, clean windows, walk dogs, anything that could bring in a little money. And then, out of nowhere, came a letter. It was hand-delivered in an expensive envelope. Inside, written in gold-embossed print, was an invitation. "To Ethan and Mrs. Hill, you are invited to attend the launch of the Rosen Foundation's new youth program, where a special guest will be honored. Transportation and arrangements have been made. Dress formal." They were stunned. They had never heard of the Rosen Foundation. Confused but curious, they attended the event at a grand hall in the city. Lights flashed, important people mingled in fine suits and gowns, and Ethan and his mother sat quietly, feeling out of place. Then Mr. Albert Rosen walked onto the stage. He began his speech slowly. "A few months ago, I had given up on people. I thought true kindness was dead, until a young boy helped me up when I had fallen, both literally and spiritually." The crowd grew quiet. "That boy," he continued, his voice steady with emotion, "didn't know who I was. He didn't want anything. He just helped, because it was the right thing to do. That one act reminded me what life, and business, should really be about." He turned toward the crowd. "That boy is Ethan Hill. And today, I want to honor him not just with words, but with opportunity." Ethan sat frozen as Albert invited him and his mother to the stage. Cameras flashed. Applause thundered. Mr. Rosen took a deep breath. "Ethan, I am giving you a scholarship trust worth $500,000, and your mother a job at one of my organizations, with housing included. I want you both to never have to worry about bills again. But more than that, I want you to help me run a new youth program I'm launching, one built on the values you've shown: integrity, compassion, and kindness." The audience wept. Ethan looked at his mother, who was sobbing, her hands shaking. "Thank you," Ethan whispered, barely able to speak. Years passed. With Albert as his mentor, Ethan grew into a bright, responsible young man. He studied business and social entrepreneurship. He traveled, helped design youth centers in underserved areas, and led campaigns to inspire young kids to choose kindness. Eventually, Albert made Ethan his business partner. At 25, Ethan became one of the youngest millionaires in the country, not because he chased money, but because he followed values that money could never buy. And when asked in interviews what changed his life, Ethan always said the same thing: a little act of kindness. That's all it takes. One kind moment can open doors you never imagined.